All right, so today is going to be a replay episode, and I picked this one because it was one of my top downloaded podcasts. And it was so fun to re-listen to this episode because I gave lots of life updates and things that were going on in my family and routines and habits that I have had. And it's fun to see where we are now, 1 year later. And I actually still have a lot of these same habits and routines. So I hope that you guys enjoy this episode and take away from it one thing that can help keep you moving forward on your health. All right, so let's start. So does this sound like you? You're trying to balance so many things in life. You're busy. You want to eat healthy. You want to exercise, but you don't know how to make it all work. Maybe you have trouble staying consistent because life seems so busy. Maybe you're a working mom, or maybe you have lots of kids at home. And it gets really hard to find the time to take care of yourself and prioritize your health. Well, let me tell you, I get you because I am there too. I have 4 kids. We're going through some transitions in our family, and it does get really hard to balance everything, and we have to be intentional. So in this episode today, I'm going to be sharing a little bit of a life update about myself, and then I'm going to be giving you 5 tips to help you think about what you need to do in order to start to prioritize your health and yourself. And I encourage you that if you are needing some support along your journey is to check out the link down below and set up a free call with me. I talk to some of you guys, and I know that sometimes you guys put this off, but if you know you're in a place where you need some support, where you would thrive with some accountability in your exercise, or maybe you would thrive with some coaching that can help you to figure out some systems and routines in place so that you can actually develop that consistency, then set up the free call. We just talk about your goals and struggles, and then we see if we're a fit. It's a no pressure call. So wherever you are, I hope that you're taking that next step forward in your health journey. Hi friends, and welcome to the Healthy Beyond 40 show. I'm Michelle, mama 4 and military wife, and I'm passionate about helping women get healthy from the inside out so they can feel better and live their best life. Do you feel like you're struggling to lose weight and get in shape? If you're ready to develop healthier habits, exercise consistently, and lose weight sustainably, then you're in the right place. I combine my expertise from my doctorate in physical therapy to my experience as a health coach, personal trainer, and yoga teacher to bring you actionable steps for a healthy lifestyle. No magic pill here, so lace up those shoes and get moving. All right, so first I'm going to start with a little life update, and this is going to weave some of these tips and principles that I'm going to be talking about. And just remember, we don't need to compare to each other, but think about what maybe you can take away that you could incorporate into your life. All right, so we're having sort of a big shift in our family this school year. So I have currently been homeschooling just my oldest, my daughter, for the last 2 years. Previously, before that, I did homeschool all of our kids. I have 3 younger boys. And this year, we decided to go back to homeschooling for all of the kids. So that's going to be a big shift in my time and what I can do. So I have taken quite a bit of time to sit down and really think about what's important, what are priorities, where do I want to spend my time, where do I need to be intentional, how can I create some routines and systems that sort of ease up some more time. So one thing I'm going to be doing, at least for the next 2 or 3 months, is I'm going to be just doing 1 podcast episode a week. Normally I do 2, and I'm doing this to just give myself some extra space and time as we are starting homeschooling and everyone is getting used to different things. So I want you to think, if it's you in your life, where is something that you can give yourself a little more space or time? So temporarily, is there something that you need to let go of? We live in a culture that talks about pushing hard. We can do it all, especially as women. And sometimes that can just lead us to burnout. So I want you to think for yourself. We don't always have to push hard. We don't have to always do it all. To really be able to sit and get quiet, maybe that is also praying for you and see where you are being led. How do you want to spend your time? How do you not want to spend your time? And can you be intentional with that? And notice that there's seasons for different things that we may or may not do. I find that so many people pour everything into their work or their family, and they really have nothing left over for themselves. And it gets easy to think I have to do all this for my work or all this for my family, and really there's just no time left. But if we can take some time to be intentional and really think about where we want to spend our time, how can we think about ourselves in our time? How can we make time for our health? Maybe to meal prep, maybe to exercise, to walk, maybe to go to a counselor, a therapist, or journal, whatever that might be. Can we be intentional and make time for what we need? So going into homeschooling, I know that I can't continue doing what I'm doing because I want to spend some of the day with my kids going over their schoolwork. I have a lot of things set up so they can do a lot of things independently. One of them is going to go to a micro school 2 days a week. The others are doing a co-op 1 day a week. But I do need to spend more time during the day that I normally would work. So for me, as I'm thinking about this, I still want to work because I absolutely love what I do. And I feel that I'm called to still be a coach and a personal trainer and really to help women. So how can I do both? How can I homeschool and how can I keep working? So it comes back to this idea, what can I sort of tweak to make it work? So for at least a couple months as we're getting started, that's going down to 1 podcast a week. There's other things I have done in my business, like I do some blogging and Pinterest and things like that. So that is going to take a back burner too, because I'm going to keep my clients my top priority. I'm going to keep doing 1 podcast a week a top priority, and being able to still meet with new people who are looking for coaching and training. So there's some things I'm letting go of, but I'm focusing on the most important things for my business. The other thing I have done to create some more time is I'm a planner, I'm an organizer. So really working on systems we'll start with house cleaning. So I have a pretty good system for myself of when I do different cleaning things around the house. Also, we have the kids. Each kid has different weekly chores that they do once a week. So I have some systems in place for this, and we're tweaking them just a little bit. I do have a morning routine for the kids, started tweaking that a little bit too, because if I can get my kids to be more independent in their morning routine with their chores, then that's going to free up time for me. It's also going to teach them responsibility. And I don't think I've said it yet, but just so you guys have an idea, right now my kids are 7, 12, 13, and 17. So I don't have little kids at home. The other thing I'm going to continue to be really intentional about is each week sitting down and making sure I have time to plan. So planning for all of my work calls and my work things, planning for homeschooling, planning for our meals, making sure that I'm also planning for my exercise. So I will typically do this on Sundays and really sit down. For me, this really makes or breaks the week a little bit. If I don't sit down and plan, the week still goes on, but I feel scattered and stressed each day. But when I can really look at what's ahead, maybe there's a few things I need to tweak or change, it really sets the tone for the week. And this is something that I have been doing most of the time, but it's just going to be one of those things I need to make sure that it really does happen every week, and that I might need a little bit more time when I sit down to do this. The one new thing that I'm going to be adding is in the morning, normally I do a Bible time, and then I would try to go for a walk or do some movement. And what I decided to do is I'm still going to wake up, I'm going to do my Bible time, my prayer time, and then I'm going to do my workout. I usually don't quite enjoy working out right away in the morning. I still feel like a little stiff, but I've done it the last 2 mornings so far, and it's actually felt really good because then I know it's done for the day and I don't have to think about it later in the day, and it just really sets that tone. So I know that as my time this year is going to be a little bit more busier, I don't want that workout to get forgotten some days. And sometimes that's what's happened to me in the past, even when I haven't been quite as busy, is it's like the evening, I'm like, oh my goodness, I never worked out today. So I'm going to put it in the morning so that I know that it gets done each day. And I also decided, so this is almost something letting go of, is, so I'm in Arizona, we're in the desert. It's still really hot through August and September, is that I'm not going to worry about going. Normally I would go for a morning walk. I'm just not going to worry about going for a walk. If I go in the evening or if I'm doing other things, that's great. But I want the focus to be on getting my strength training, getting my workout in each day. So the movement piece might still happen, but I'm not going to be as worried about it right now. And remember, I'm thinking for this season, for getting started for these next 2 or 3 months. The other things I'm going to be prioritizing is to make sure we always have a meal plan for each week and prepping anything that we need to on Sunday for the week. And my husband is currently in a job where he works like 6 to 2:30, so he's been getting home usually by 3:30. So he's been able to help the last little bit with getting dinners going. So I'm going to rely on him more for cooking dinner. So I just need to make sure he doesn't really do the meal planning. I still do that. So I just need to make sure when I'm meal planning, I am meal planning things that he feels comfortable doing. The other thing I'm going to be prioritizing, and this is something that has been a habit, but I don't want to let it go. So me and my husband typically do weekly dates on Saturday. He usually has one reserve weekend a month, so that doesn't work out. But the rest of the weeks, we usually have like a day date. We usually go out for quite a little bit. So I want to continue to prioritize that because that is fun and that's enjoyable and obviously good for our relationship. But that is something I really enjoy. So as things get busy, I don't want to let that go. And along that same note, I want to keep prioritizing time with friends. So whether that's playing pickleball or meeting up with some friends, trying to be intentional about doing that once a week. And that would be something that I'm going to add to my planning time on Sunday is what am I doing this week with some other friends. And the other thing I'm going to be prioritizing is, if you guys don't know, I'm working on an EFT or tapping certification. And part of the certification is I have to do 6 sessions with a certified provider for myself. So I'm looking forward to this. It's sort of like that time where I'm going to get to work on myself and my mental health to keep me in a good space. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I am continuing to fuel my body. So I do want to make sure I'm getting enough protein, I'm getting enough fiber. I'm giving myself the nutrition, high quality nutrition that it needs. I'm also going to be keeping up with the supplements that I take. This is already a habit, so this isn't something new for me. And I'm saying that, and I've mentioned it before, because don't think that you can start all these new habits at once. We need to start slow. So sometimes we can have these habits pretty good in place, but we just need to keep being intentional about them. And then we add just a little bit on at a time. So for my supplements that I'm going to continue to prioritize is, one, starting my morning with Organifi's green juice. It has a clinical dose of ashwagandha, so it gives me energy. It has the different microgreens in it that can help your body detox and helping you feel good. And there's going to be a link down below. If you guys want to try it out, use the code HEALTHY20 and you're going to save 20%. And then in the morning, I'm also going to be taking my Xtend Plus multivitamin immune support from Zenzino. This has really helped my immune system stay strong. So I definitely want to keep up with that. And then I'm also going to take my omega-3 balance oil Zenzino in the morning. And I have quite a few podcast episodes on omega-3s. Omega-3s are anti-inflammatory. So this is really huge. And so many people really don't prioritize this. Omega-3s are an essential nutrient and most of us are highly deficient. So I love that Zenzino has where you can test at home to see if you're deficient and to really see how deficient you are, and then to supplement and then retest and make sure that your body's absorbing and you're at the right level. So if you want more information about that, there are links down below where you can check it out. And I really love Zenzino so much that I have become an independent partner with them. because they have really high quality products. And then in the evening, I'm going to end my day with either using Organifi's Gold. It's their nighttime drink that has turmeric, which is anti-inflammatory, and lemon balm, which is a calming herb. So I either do that or I do a tea, an herbal tea that has chamomile, lavender, and lemon balm in it. And I just use loose leaf and make my own tea. So if you guys want to check any of those out, make sure you guys check the links in this description. All right, so now I'm going to go over 5 tips, and it's going to be all the things that I've talked about as I've told you about my story. So I want you to think, where does this fit into you, and where do you need to focus without overwhelming yourself? So tip number 1 is to delegate tasks or stop doing things. Sometimes we have to let things go to create more space for the things that we actually want. So for me, delegating looked like I'm going to let my husband cook more dinners. I'm going to do 1 podcast a week. I'm going to let Pinterest for my business go right now. There are things that I am stopping doing or delegating. Number 2 is to create routines and rhythms. So for example, my morning is going to be a routine or a rhythm. I'm going to get up. I might make my bed. Then I'm going to do my Bible study. I'm going to change. Then I'm going to do my workout. That is a routine or a rhythm. And once we get into those, our body really likes those. And as we're talking about routines and rhythms, there is someone that her reels have popped up for me on Facebook, and I'll share one of her YouTube shorts, the links in the descriptions. But she talks about doing hard things first in the morning. So for me, doing that workout first thing in the morning feels like a really hard thing, because I just don't normally like to work out pretty much right after I wake up. But when we start to do hard things in the morning, that tells us that we can do hard things, and that can flow into the rest of our day. So I'll share a quick little video where she shares this and shares a little bit of the brain science. It's super interesting. So when you start doing things that are hard, you tell yourself that you can do hard things, and you start accomplishing those things that you want to. But just make sure that it's something that you want to do, that you're not comparing yourself to someone else, that it's something you are called to do right now. Number 3 is scheduling my workouts and having time for self-care. So that AM slot, putting a workout in, scheduling your walks, or scheduling that time where you need to do self-care. And remember, self-care can look like sitting down, planning, organizing, going on dates, meeting up with friends, those things that are going to nourish you. Tip number 4 is to stay organized and really make sure you're planning each week. And this is a skill that has to be learned, and that time has to be set aside for. And especially if you're someone who has some ADD tendencies, you might shy away from this. But it's really important that you can figure out how to do this, because in order to really be successful and have consistency, it's going to come from being organized. It's going to come from planning. And this organization or planning might look different for each person. But like the saying goes, if you fail to plan, then you have planned to fail. So that is why each Sunday I'm really going to sit down and plan my week out. And number 5 is really have space for your mental health, your personal growth. So for me, this is time to pray in the morning and usually before I go to bed. This is doing some tapping on myself as things pop up in my life. So maybe I'm frustrated at someone, maybe I'm feeling anxious about something, but taking that time to tap to really work through that for me. And part of this for me is also going to be doing the EFT sessions with a practitioner and getting to work on different things going on for me. But it gets so easy when we get so busy to push off that time to take care of our mental health, our personal growth, but it can really make a difference. So I encourage you that if you are feeling busy, if you're feeling overwhelmed, and you're struggling prioritizing your health, is to really take some time, sit down, and figure out what needs to change. I'm going to put these 5 tips in the description. So if you guys have that time to sit down, you can see some of these tips so that maybe you can figure out, okay, I'm really missing this routine and rhythm in the morning. Maybe that's what I need to focus on. Or maybe I know I'm doing some things that I could delegate. Maybe I don't want to delegate them yet. I like it better when I do it, but maybe I do need to delegate or stop some things. All right, friends. Well, thank you for joining me today. I'm going to put a link to my Facebook group, Healthy Beyond 40. And I encourage you that if you're listening to this, to go into the group and share which tip really stood out to you. You can also share, maybe there's something that you have done when you're really busy that has helped you, and you can share that with others in the community. All right. Hope everyone has a great week.